What's up, people? I am back. If you hear a little noise, it's my little fan because it is like hot as fuck today. But I didn't end up going to my friends, so I decided I was just gonna do it later. But today, I am reviewing the first Orphan movie, and then next week I should be back at my normal place. But even if I'm not, I might just say fuck it, and we'll just review Orphan 2. Because in my view, it's Orphan 2. It's a prequel, but they call it a prequel, but I will explain more when I review it. But it's very much a sequel. It feels like a sequel. So, and that's just how I'm gonna look at it. So, but Orphan, I remember watching this when it first came out. It came out in 2009. Like it was like late that year, and I watched it. It had to have been like when it went on like one of the movie channels, and I really enjoyed it because I like killer kid movies. Children of the Corn, The Good Son, The Omen, which is classic. And I mean, even to an extent, Halloween. I mean, if you're being honest, Michael Myers started off as a killer child. So, but I thought Esther was and I like the accent did it for me. The way she played Ellen Innocent, and the whole twist reveal that she's actually not a kid. So it's not even really a killer kid movie. So I'm fucked that up. It's not even a killer kid movie because it's revealed that she's an adult, but she has like some kind of disorder that basically gives her dwarfism that she basically can pull off being a kid. But yeah, it's still a great movie nonetheless. I thought, it's a simple premise. This family, they had a family tragedy because Katie and John Kate ended up giving a stillbirth. So their marriage was a little strained after that. So they decided to adopt Esther, along with they have a deaf daughter, Max, and their son Daniel. But then like these stories go, weird things start happening, and Esther starts doing things like when Max accidentally one scene is where Max he's playing paintball and he accidentally shoots a bird, and Esther in her mind, well, I'm putting it out of its misery, she smashes it with a rock. It was brutal. The kills in general in this movie are pretty brutal. I like that they're realistic. She's smaller. Granted, this is where you still think she's a kid. So they do make them realistic. It's not like she's not like fucking Jason, like pulling like her hand through your chest or some shit. But overall, I like the tension, and I like that Kate's like the only one who kind of figures it out. And it's done in a way where she's the alcoholic. She's a crazy alcoholic lady. So Esther manages to fool, like she even the scene where she breaks her own arm. That was fucked. Anything where you see like a bone break, that gets me. So basically she starts, Sister Abigail, who's like this nun who basically showed the family Esther, gets killed, and pretty much she starts cycling down. She even tries to kill Daniel. And then I think the final act's pretty good, where Kate's trying to protect her family, and John, realizing too late, he ends up getting killed, so Kate has to try to protect her family. We get a fight, and it ends with her being defeated, but it can almost be like, did she survive or not? So, but yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought the tension was there. It's a fun movie, even though it's not really a killer kid movie because she's not really a kid, but it's still like they made that twist is very well done. So, it's been a while since I watched it, so I figured it still holds up in my opinion. The score's there. There's some solid cinematography. The kills are there. The actress who plays Esther kills it. Like the way she plays innocent, and she knows how to play a child. So yeah, overall, I would probably give this like a 9 out of 10. Really good film. I recommend it. I'd actually recommend the second one too. It's the second one. I know they call it a prequel, and I'll explain that more when I review it, but it very much is just a sequel because she looks almost older compared to here, where she's already an adult, but she looks almost older, like a couple years older. So it's like, anyway. But we'll get started on Orphan 1. Tomorrow in the morning or during the day, I will be doing, maybe at night, depending on how things go, I will be reviewing Piranha, the original 70s one. And I watched it like an hour ago. I finished it an hour ago. I gotta say, it's not, I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's not good either. I think I'll explain it more when I review it, but there's just some weirdness in there. But it's like an okay, I guess, like killer animal movie. You got some solid sequences with the piranhas, even though the effects weren't great, obviously, and there were moments where I'm like, this is just Jaws. But anyway, but I'll be reviewing that tomorrow. But anyway, I'll get started here. Cheers. So the movie opens up. It's a nightmare, but it's almost like basically gives you a little bit of a backstory of what happened with the family. Kate and John. Kate ends up having a stillbirth, which they kind of show you. I think it's supposed to be like a dream, but it shows you what happened nonetheless. So she wakes up. And Kate, who's a recovering alcoholic, so they decide, we need to adopt a daughter. So, because they have one daughter named Max, who is deaf, and a son named Daniel. So they decide to visit like an orphanage. This is where we meet Esther, and John and Esther initially connect because they, both are in art. And the movie it's a little slow in the, like the first, like I would say 30 minutes are a little slow. Like nothing kind of really happens. Like there's scenes where like Esther goes to school, she gets bullied. But and even like her brother kind of joins, stepbrother or whatever you kind of want to call it, even joins in the bullying. So then this is the scene I described where one day Daniel's like playing, actually it might have been before that, where he was playing with his paintball gun and he accidentally shot a pigeon. And Esther says you need to put it out, out of his misery. And she grabs a rock and smashes it. And I'm not gonna lie, she plays it so well. She's fucking creepy. And the accent helps for sure. I'm not gonna lie. The accent definitely helps, especially when she fucking ramps it up a little bit with the accent. And then there's a scene where the girl who bullied her a little bit earlier, they're at the playground. Esther basically pushes the girl off it's like a slide thing. So yeah, she pushes her off that, breaking her leg, and Esther played it off like, oh, we were playing. So, and this is where Sister Abigail, this is pretty much where the movie really kind of starts picking up, or a little bit before that. This is where Kate starts getting first suspicious, and I did not remember this scene, but there's a random butt sex scene where John and Kate are having sex in the kitchen. And yeah, I didn't remember that in the movie. But yeah, so Esther ends up seeing, Kate tries to talk to her about it, and Esther basically leads on that she knows about sex. So this is kind of where you get your first hint that, okay, she's not a regular kid. And basically throughout the film, Max kind of basically covers up like Esther's, I guess you could, before it wasn't murder, because she just broke the girl's leg and she saw that, so she kept it secret. So the movie pretty much picks up from here. like I mentioned, where Sister Abigail visits and tells them about Esther's behavior and almost like hinting that she may have killed her last adoptive family. And while this is happening, Esther takes Max, grabs the gun, grabs the key to the treehouse, and she grabs a hammer. And Sister Abigail gets ready to leave, and Esther uses Max as bait, so she basically pushes her in front of the car while Esther's driving. Not Esther, while Sister Abigail's driving. And yeah, it's a little. This scene's kind of crazy, like how she just like the way Esther just has no problem. Like this is a 5-year-old deaf girl, just, like pushes her like casually. So Sister Abigail gets out of the car, and then Esther kills her with a hammer, and basically tells Max to help her. And so they hide the evidence, and Daniel does see this. So that night, because Esther at some point probably realized Max saw, she then stands over him while he's sleeping and basically threatens to cut his nuts off. Like, this is to like a 12-year-old kid. Granted, we do not know she's an adult yet, so it's. I really do think they did a good job of fooling you, because she does know how to play a kid. Because it does play like a killer kid movie from the beginning. Like, from this point, you think she's just a crazy little girl, you know. But so after that, you know. So Kate starts more and more catching on about her behavior. Esther like smashes, like I think Kate has like a thing of flowers from Jessica's grave, and she ends up, Esther kind of like smashes them, basically like, or no, Esther takes them from the grave and gives them to her as a bouquet, you know, basically fucking with her furthermore, and you know, trying to drive Kate crazy. Kate even, like, grabs her, and John, like, starts, like, telling her to calm down. Same night, this is where Esther breaks her own arm, which that was fucking crazy. She puts it in, like, this latch thing, and then just kept twisting it till it, like, squeezed her. Like, holy shit, I remember, that was gnarly. So she plays like Kate did it, and then the next day, while loading the car, Esther pulls the brake, basically causing the car to back up, keep backing up, and basically play like it was Kate, you know, because she's trying to exploit her alcoholism or former alcoholism. Because there's a scene where she almost drinks, but she pours it out. But you know, Esther's trying to make her look bad. So, and so her and the therapist and John suggest if you don't get help to Kate, that she will lose the kids and John's gonna leave her. It's crazy. I think this stuff is kind of good because this I mean, not necessarily this happens, but this is believable, you know. Because you know now John thinks this is his potential daughter. He doesn't know what actually happens, and I think this is where we get basically somewhat the reveal that she actually wasn't from at all from Russia. She's actually from an Estonian mental hospital. And the orphanage has no record of her. So she actually isn't an orphan. So Daniel tries to tell Max to help him, like, try to figure out what's going on, because but while doing this, Esther hears from the outside. So Max gets the key, or not a key, he gets a crowbar to try to latch the door open, like the crowbar open, you know, the treehouse open. He gets in there, but Esther gets in, sets it ablaze, you know, causing a fire. Well, this is where basically we kind of get a little bit, I think this is actually where we're getting her records and stuff while this is happening. Because Max is screaming, and she's Kate's not hearing because she's on the phone. But she realizes it, and then Daniel falls, and Esther's about to kill him with a rock, but Max thwarts him to her, and then they go to the hospital that night. Esther asks to get soda from the vending machine, but she actually is going to go try to smother. She actually is ending up trying to smother Daniel unsuccessfully, even though the movie does make it seem like he died, but actually doctors are managed to save him in time. And then this is where Kate at this point loses it, slugs Esther, calls her a bitch. And I think that performance from Kate's pretty perfect. Like, she does a good job of like being portrayed as crazy, even though she's not. But they do do a good job of portraying her as crazy to like the outside, because it does just look like she just slugged a little kid. But so pretty much after this, she's basically forced to stay in the hospital, sedated. That's the word I was looking for. And then John takes the kids home, and this is where pretty much we get her full backstory. Or not her full, but like we learn that she's actually a 33-year-old woman, and that her name is Lena. She's from Estonia, and that she has killed multiple families, and that a condition has stunted her growth. So that's why she looks like a kid. And the family that was burned alive, actually, and the reason she has the cuffs. Those because throughout the film she has like these braces on her arms and her neck, and that's because she's trying to cover her marks from being in a straitjacket, or ribbons. That's what they were. And then while this is happening, this is a thing that does kind of happen again in in Orphan First Kill, but you have Esther. I'm still gonna call her Esther, even though her real name's Lena. Esther tries to flirt with John. Because, she's trying to show, like, I'm an adult woman. But John still sees her as the kid. So, basically, while this is happening, the doctor's basically trying to tell Kate, you cannot leave that girl with your family. She will kill them, basically. So she tries to drive home. And she tries to flirt with John, but John tells her no, and tells her, pretend basically that we're going to talk about this living situation. So she storms off, removes her ribbons, and plans basically revealed. And John at this point realizes Esther is not a kid because he sees like a drawing of the wall of basically them kissing. And this is where John gets killed, and Kate manages to make it home, and you have a scene where Esther starts shooting at both Max and Kate, which the scene where she's trying to like shoot Kate's kind of crazy. Like, this is an old grown woman trying to kill a 5-year-old. Like Esther's gnarly, and I do think the reveal though is perfect because you do think they do a good job of making you believe it is a kid, and then nope, she's a grown woman. And then I'm gonna jump ahead a bit where Max initially knocks Esther unconscious. Then the cops show up, and they come in the greenhouse, and they see that she's gone. And then while waiting for the cops, Esther attacks Kate. We get kind of like a fight on the ice, the fight was actually not bad. It's not a bad final fight. Max grabs the gun and shoots the ice, and the ice breaks through. And initially, Kate initially makes it out, but then Esther drags her back down. But then she tries to climb back up, and then Esther tries to play innocent and say, but mom, but mommy, I'm your daughter, and then Kate's like, hey, you're not my daughter, and then kicks her and basically kicks her down, and then she sinks, and then the cops, save them. I really enjoy this movie. I think the horror was there. They really do. She did Isabel Furman. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but I think she did a really good job because she does portray being a little kid. Like she does seem like a kid, initially, and the kills were well done. They were realistic to like when they're trying to make you think she's a kid. So she's not going to do like these over the top ones, which are fine. I don't always need over the top kills. I'm always cool with just a simple stabbing or something like that. I thought Kate did a really good job. I think in general everyone did a good job. The tone's there. Score's okay. It's not really anything impressive, but not every horror has to always have like an iconic score all the time. That's fine. But the tension was there. I thought some of the shots were pretty good, and the accent really does help the creepiness a little bit. So definitely a 9 out of 10 movie. I would recommend it. Granted, it's not really a killer kid movie, but it's kind of one. I would recommend it. Decent slasher. One of the decent like slashers of the modern I guess like because this came out in 2009, so late aughts. So not bad. So 9 out of 10. But Piranha 1978. This movie that I'm gonna do a quick kind of review before I review it tomorrow. This came out like the post Jaws era. This is the first time I watched this because I didn't even know it was a remake. Or was an original because I only saw like the 2010 one that came out, and I thought this one was okay. Like the problem I had with it, there's like this subplot where it's revealed that the government paid for the piranhas. No, I don't buy that. That's out. That's a reach. I mean, they explain in the movie that it was like because it was something to do with Vietnam, but I'm like, no, they're not going to use piranhas. That's a reach. But it should have just been like a Jaws situation where, or even just a doctor made these piranhas. I would have even been fine with that. I didn't need the whole government thing. That was stupid. So I'll talk about that more tomorrow. But there's some gnarly kills, and it doesn't just rip off Jaws like some of the creature movies did. So I'll talk about it more tomorrow. The piranhas don't really show what they look like. You see them, but they're in like there's definitely a lot of reuse shots for sure. Like the same shot of them like kind of swimming. It's 1978. It's fine. So it's like a 6 out of 10 movie, but I'll talk about that more tomorrow. But aside from that, I'm gonna get ready to cheers and talk to y'all tomorrow. As usual, fuck the Biden administration. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.